FX presents the Hindu Podcast with your host, T. Sterling Watson.
Good morning, Indubians. I'm T. Sterling Watson.
And I'm Kortney.
This is the Hindu Podcast, where drive time meets late night talk show as we aim to entertain, enlighten, and provide an auditory escape with knowledge and nonsense. Thank you for stopping by and pressing play. We're recording live from the little in New Indubia, wherever we are. I don't know. I was doing so well because normally I have it written. I should have it memorized, and I got through most of it. So, points to me, I suppose. I don't know.
It's definitely to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I keep making that intro longer and longer, and should make it shorter. I don't know, but people seem to like it and they get excited. I'm like, oh, it show's about to begin. He's about to get into some stuff or just talk about some knowledge and nonsense that may enlighten or entertain. Blah, 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 blah. So, yes, I've been saying that a lot lately. Last couple days, the blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley's been calling me on it. So that's why I'm making note of it now. So I'm trying not to do that. Trying not to do it. Anyway, how are you doing today?
I am doing good. Can't complain. How are you?
I'm well. I'm actually pretty good. I feel, I want to say, rested, and that's in due part to a nap I had earlier, but also because I did return from a staycation, even though I did travel a little bit. So, and that is, part of what we will discuss a bit today, just a bit, because there's been a lot, capital letter, bold, italicized, typeface, because that's the proper, words for it, because I've been taking classes. But yeah, a lot. So going on in the last few days, let alone the last week. Yeah, but hey, first we'll say that I came back from my staycation. If you want to hear more about that, this is a direct plug to the Love Blurs podcast, where Ashley and I discuss my my week off, and my highlight would be going to see John Mulaney live. So that was great. I had a great time. And what I will say, I'm not going to go into detail because again, Love Blurs. What I will say. The opening act, we could not remember the comedian's name, but I have since found it, which was really arduous work. Like I had to scroll through because I only had one lead, and that was John Mulaney said that he is on the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel television program or streaming program. So I went to go scroll through all the people that have been on the show, and he's in only one episode. So that meant
he really tried you.
Because it worked. Because I couldn't remember his name for the life of me, and I'm like, okay, and hopefully this guy has like a picture on IMDb, which he does. So all of that to say, his name is Seton Smith. So in case you want to look him up,
Nice.
apparently he's opening for him all throughout the tour, John Mulaney's tour. So kudos to him. Yeah. So yeah, Seton Smith is his name. So that's a continuation of the Love Blurs podcast. There are some people out there like Nisha, shout out to Nisha, who listen to both. So thank you very much.
Hey, Nisha.
So yeah, there's that. I wrote down Back to Work Blues because that kind of started setting in, I think, on Saturday before I came back to work. But then it was also being back at work where everyone was just not, I don't want to say everyone, but a lot of stuff was just thrown at me, and just like, I'm trying to get back into the workflow of things, trying to get caught up on work that was like maybe backed up or whatever, or what have you. Like, why is this over here? Who did that? Who painted that on the wall? Just try to figure out what's happening and why. And I think you can relate because you also were off of work too.
It was, but I was off, and I was off with the kids for spring break. So it was really nice, and it was great to be away from work. And yes, I did have that dread kind of, mine hit more on like Sunday afternoonish for me. But Daniel took me out to our favorite lake, and so I was able to kind of hang out and stuff. and ease back into the week. But it was, it wasn't quite a vacation, but or a staycation even, but I did have that dread, the dread kind of on Sunday, like, oh, here we go.
They have a name for it, which I just learned that's called like the Sunday Saddies or something. I've already forgot what it's called.
Well, whatever the name is, I'm sure it's fitting because it always, for me, it always happens on Sunday. I try not to think about it on Wednesday on Saturday, so that I can enjoy a little bit of the weekend.
I'll say, wow, it's really deep if like you're already dreading on a Wednesday. Wednesday
during the week.
Wednesday is hard enough as it is. That's why I feel it's best to put this podcast out on a Wednesday. And we're going to discuss why this episode is late, because we purposely, deliberately waited to even record this episode because of some news that's coming up later. So, but then again, there was also it was just, this week has been a lot. And that's just between like you and me, like just our lives, let alone things happening in the world. So or even outside of the world. Sorry, for whatever reason, I felt like I was like the spirit of Neil deGrasse Tyson was coming over me. and then you just have to look beyond the stars. He just has a way of just like letting words just roll around in his mouth before he just like lets them out. Trying to get
releases them into the world.
Right, as if he's painting a picture of the universe for you with words, which he does. I mean, that's the job of a science communicator, which we're enthusiasts of, I would say. Not saying that we are, but we appreciate and we thank you for the good work that you do. People like that, and a bunch of people I follow on YouTube, like Kyle Hill, for example. He's a great science educator, and I recommend, this was not my recommendation, but I'm going to go ahead and say this is my recommendation. Go check out Kyle Hill on YouTube. He's got some really great videos to explain things that you never knew that you were curious about. So
I like that.
Yes. He has an older YouTube channel, which was under the Nerdist brand, but he branched out because he, wanted to do his own thing or his own schedule, which he explains in other videos, and it's great. So I'll let you guys do all that research, but that is not my official recommendation, but it is a new one. When we get to the end of the episode, I have another recommendation, which I will recommend when the time gets there. So yeah. So I guess we'll just go ahead. Well, no, I'll also say that yesterday, I'm breaking the wall here because we're recording on the 31st of March, meaning it's the end of March. But yesterday, March 30th, was Chiefs Gotcha Day.
Aw, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's actually a term I didn't even know existed until Ashley told me. And I'm like, oh. So yeah, that yesterday was Chief's 11th Gotcha Day.
Oh, I love it so much.
Which I can't believe I've had him for 11 years. And I don't know his official age, meaning I don't know exactly when he was born, but when I got him, he was only apparently a few months old, even though I think he was already at the size that he was going to stay at, but because we're like, I think Ashley was thinking he was going to be smaller when I got him, but I'm like, no. When I got him, he was about the size he is now, if not a little bit smaller. But yeah. So I would say he's 11 years old, but I've had him for 11 years, and he's still.
Well, did you do anything special for him?
Yes, I went and picked him up and brought him here, so he's at the apartment with us.
Oh, I'm sure he's happy about that. Sure.
Oh, he is. He gets spoiled for sure. And yesterday he got his first taste of a de-shedding brush or comb or whatever, which he seems to enjoy because it's almost like he'll. And I almost started doing some things that's visual, that's not good for an audio medium, which is like doing all these neck stretches and like, nope, get it right here, get it right. Yeah, that's it right there. So I'm sure he's been enjoying that. However, I don't enjoy all of the shed that is happening. He's never shed this much before, but I think it's because the weather's just been so crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's up and down here. I'm sure it's very similar in craziness there.
Oh yes, it absolutely has been. In fact, I think it was yesterday. If it wasn't yesterday, I think it was yesterday. If not, it was the day before that it was snowing. Today it's hovering around 60, but it doesn't feel like it. In fact, there's like threats for severe storms later on this evening. So fun. Love the weather and just Mother Nature just flipping tables because just sick of it, sick of all of it.
I guess
So
she's mad or something. I don't know. I would be
I,
mad too, honestly, though. But
I mean, she's had it, and I mean,
I can't
I'm
blame her.
I'm not sure exactly who in this scenario like Earth would. Well, I think I already know. Mother Nature's Will Smith, and we're Chris Rock. There, just putting it out there.
Nice.
Just thought I'd get there.
Thank
Oscars.
you.
That's also what we were going to. I had no idea how I was going to segue into it, but
You did it.
thank you. We brought up the weather, and yeah, there we have it. But my Oscars recap is, I feel like I did better this year than I have in all the other ones, predicting and whatnot. I did do my predictions last episode, so you want to go back and listen to that, you can. It's very short, like 15 minutes, I think. And I got 18 out of 23 right. I really need to write down somewhere like my averages over the years, because I don't know how well I did the year before or the year before that. So, but
well, and I bet you didn't predict this a whole slap.
I didn't. I for best slap, I still had Bernie Mac from, ironically enough, a Chris Rock film called Head of State. That was my favorite GIF. I mean, it still is. Or even video clip where not Chris Rock, Bernie Mac gets off a train, and then all these people start walking up to him trying to ask him for things like, "Hey, I got this mixtape," or "Hey, I got this thing," or this donation, and he just slaps each and every one of them out of the way. It is absolutely hilarious, and it was like one of my favorite reactions or even responses to things. Then some joy killer was like, "Oh yes, because domestic violence is, or not domestic violence, but violence is funny." I'm like,
oh my gosh, get out of here.
This is from a movie. It's a comedy. I meant it as a
Right.
joke, and you're just
Oh my
sucking all the
gosh.
air out. Oh. Now, granted, yes, violence is not the answer, and there's a whole bunch of discourse out there just that's discussing all sides of it and people taking sides or whatnot. I'm here for the jokes and for the memes that come from it, because this was a moment. I also want to give not a shout out. This isn't a shout out. It's more of a highlight. Nope, not even a highlight. I used Fubo or Fubo. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's a streaming service for live TV. And I used it, and they have a trial period of 24 hours, which I think is the shortest trial period I've ever.
Wow, that is pretty short. I've never heard of a 24-hour trial period. That's kind of amazing, actually.
It truly is, that because that meant I really needed to make sure that when I was ready to cancel,
right.
Yes, or even start it too, because I don't think they tell you have 24 hours until after you do the trial.
Are you serious?
I think so. It's like, hey, you want to try it? You want to try it? You can do all of the. You can do the pro. You can do the elite version. Like they have all these other channels, like 100 and something channels, and then the pro or the elite has like 200 something channels, and then they have other ones where you can share screens with people, unlimited screens. All of it still under. Well, one of them isn't available for trial, and that's if you want to do the. I think they call it the Latino package, which has all the Spanish speaking channels. Still, all of these channels. How am I going to watch all of them in 24 hours? But that's my problem, because I'm just doing the trial. But
right, that's literally your problem, not theirs. They gave you free access, so
right.
You should probably just be grateful.
You figure out what you want to do with those 24 hours with all these channels we're giving you. So figure it out.
Right.
And I did, because all I want to do is watch the Oscars. And then after that was done, the next morning when I got to work, I made sure that I canceled it just to make sure that I didn't forget. And then they were asking why you canceled. Was it just because you wanted to watch one game?
Did they say that?
Yes, it was one of the options as to why I canceled. Like, it's too much, or is it you just wanted to watch one game? I'm like, yeah, sure. It was one game I wanted to watch. Yes.
Wow.
It was hockey. I'm sorry. It was the Oscars.
hours. Get out of here. So stupid.
It really, I mean, I was shocked, and then now I'm thinking about it, like, you know what, I probably did have some other options that I could use. Like I have because I'm an Xfinity customer, they gave me a Flex thing for like live TV, but I don't know if I could have watched the Oscars with that, and I probably wouldn't even have to go through Fubo or Fubu. Not Fubu. I keep wanting to call it Fubu.
It's not Fubu. I know what you're talking about. I think it is. It's Fubo, right?
Correct. Which is why I want to call it Fubo, but Ashley was like, it's probably called Fubo, and I'm like, but why? Why would it be called Fubo, not Fubo?
I feel like it would be Fubo as well, but
right.
I also think that's kind of a dumb name. So I don't know. I don't really have a dog in this fight.
Right. And it's all these different weird things, which I really would like to find out where some of these names came from. Like, well, Roku, I know is a thing, but Hulu, what is that? Where did that come from? Explain.
Right. Netflix makes the most sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're on the net and you're getting flicks, because that was, it launched when shows were not really a thing. You watch movies, right?
Correct.
And so that just makes sense to me. And of course they've, branched out a whole lot, but
I mean,
it makes sense.
I have to bring it up, but Quickster, do you remember Quickster when that
I do
came and went so quickly?
I remember.
Sorry, I just like laughing at some like huge failures. Like, hey, we got this great idea. Nope, it's terrible. Get rid of it. We don't like it. Quickster, and then Quibi, which I found out later was short for Quick Bites. So.
Oh, okay, like bite size.
Right,
things to watch.
Right.
Okay,
And for anyone who's not familiar with Quibi, that's a streaming service that failed very quickly, like right at the beginning of the pandemic too. Or right
Did
before.
it fail already? Okay, I knew.
Yeah, it's been gone.
About it. Well, I knew I hadn't heard about it in a while, but I just thought. I mean, there's a lot of streaming services out there that I don't know about. I just kind of assumed. Wow. So it's wow.
It's gone, and it fizzled out like just before I think the pandemic started, which is where probably it would have thrived.
I thought it was launching at that time. Like I thought that's when it launched, was right at the beginning of the pandemic.
The timing of it, I think all of that is in my mind congealed into a really tight month, perhaps, where it launched, and like there's all this money behind it and all this and not endorsements, but like just celebrity power, like just entertainers, all these shows and content that was there, and like, ooh, this would be really great, but there were things that happened and it just fell apart and it didn't come to be. So it was pretty sad, because I mean, I heard that there were a lot of good things. There was even Emmy nominated shows that were on it, where like they got nominated, but like the platform itself fizzled out. So I'm not even sure how you can find some of this content that was on it, unless other places like, I don't know, maybe YouTube, or I don't even know if Netflix bought anything from it, but it's all gone now. So
wow, I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. It is. It lived and died a very short life. So
yeah. Well, these things do happen, because there was a couple shows like, it wasn't Quinta, or maybe it was Quinta, Brunson, somebody, who was it that had a show, and I was like, dang it, I wish I could watch it, but I'm not. I refuse to get another streaming service. I'm not doing it. And so I wasn't able to keep up with it. That's probably why I don't know what's going on. Wow. Well, it sucks.
Yeah, it does. It does. I do have to say, in regards to, again, back to the Oscars and some of the like two big winners being Best Supporting Actor, Tony Cuts. I didn't write his name down. Not Tony, Troy. His first name is Troy. But basically the film Coda won Best Picture. That was one that I actually got wrong. I was thinking it was going to be. I was thinking it was going to be Power of the Dog, because it was winning and it was on track to win Best Film. Although I haven't seen it. I heard through a trusted friend of mine who, I think she said she didn't care for it, or told me I could skip it. even though I tend to watch things anyway, but it didn't really grab my interest because I'm not really into movies about the frontier or Westerns
Yeah.
unless it has to be something like Harder They Fall. So
Yes. Which is that really a Western? I mean, it's got a
it
lot of the
is.
elements.
It is.
It's got a lot of the elements. It's just not, it doesn't, there's a lot of things that veer off of your traditional Western, in my opinion. But I also don't know Western, so maybe don't listen to me that much.
It is a Western. Horses were involved, cowboy hats,
Guns,
gunslinging,
shoot 'em ups,
right,
that kind
dust
of
and
thing.
sand. Yeah, it's a Western.
Is that what denotes a Western though?
What,
That's
dust
the
and
big
sand?
question here.
Yes,
Dust
but
and sand and cap horses and shooting, yeah, and horses, sure, but dust and sand and I don't know.
I mean, if you threw a couple of horses in Dune, we can even count that as a Western, but a future Western.
Okay, well that has a lot of sand, so that's two notches there.
I think even Star Wars kind of can go in that contention too, of like being partial Western, but because they've got sandy planets, but in space, right.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
it's got a whole bunch of those different kind of things, and it's got the shoot 'em ups, it's got dog fights, meaning the planes fighting and shooting each other, pew pews and whatnot. And sorry, that was a TIE fighter sound. Just
so, in all honesty, though, I think we're kind of joking a lot here, but I've heard that, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because I could get this wrong, but I've heard that it actually does kind of follow a lot of the Chief Hush. But I remember hearing that it does actually follow a lot of the Western story, like archetype is not the right word because that's a character, but like
tropes,
structure,
maybe, or structure,
tropes and structures and things.
You're talking about Star Wars?
Star Wars, yeah.
Yes, I would agree that it does that, but it's definitely a rip from the pages copycat of Joseph Campbell's journey of the hero, or story of the hero.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's definitely that, and I think that's probably what a lot of Westerns are, because a lot of them are kind of reluctant heroes, or follow those kind of tropes of like, oh, I don't want to be on this path or do this thing, but they're pulling me out of retirement, I got to do this thing one more time, or I got to defend these people. Yeah, so most definitely, I mean, look at the Mandalorian, because that's definitely, I would not the Mandalorian.
That is,
yeah, well, yes,
I think the Mandalorian, and maybe that's when I first heard this kind of comparison or description of the Star Wars universe. Maybe not, I don't know, but I definitely see it with the Mandalorian.
And
but
definitely Boba Fett, the book of Boba Fett, because that's.
But I was about to say, Mandalorian's like literally the only Star Wars piece that I've watched.
Yeah, I think I feel like a lot of people would agree with that, because that's all that there's one really main reason why, but once you actually get into the show, you get into some of the other characters too. So yeah, I would agree. I definitely would agree. So yes, fun. Coda was what we're talking about there.
Sorry.
That's fine. And I think what I was leading to is, because of Coda, I ended up subscribing to another streaming service that I didn't think I was going to get. And I was actually trying to get it from my sister, but she had some logins juggled around recently. So I thought I was going to get it from my niece. Long story short, I had to get it myself, because for whatever reason it was not working. And now I have Apple TV Plus.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Because I think I was ready to start like calling everybody that has like I guess an Apple account. It says like, hey, can I borrow your login? Can I borrow your? But I'm like, let me just do it myself, because this isn't working. Because first, when I was trying to get my sister her account, it was asking for a code, and she was like, what code? I don't get it. I'm not seeing a code. It was working with my niece. Like, she got the code and then sent it to me so I can do what I need to do, but it still wasn't working. So I'm like, whatever, I'll do it myself, like Thanos. And pay $5. Ugh, goodness.
I know, right?
Which is actually the cheapest one, huh?
Is that where you can watch Coda?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. You may have said that. I'm sorry if I missed it.
No, I didn't. But I just said
Okay.
that that's kind of what led to it, led me getting it so I can watch it, because I did hear great things about it, other than the fact that it won best picture. I
Mhm.
was interested in seeing it. I just wasn't sure how I was going to see it because I did not have Apple TV. So
I do want to see it as well. I remember seeing the previews for it, and I was like, I want to see it. And like, I have connections with the deaf community, and I love the deaf community, and I love seeing movies about and including and featuring the deaf community. But
Mhm.
of course, you just don't see that often. And this one actually looked good, and it
Right.
looked, so I wanted to check it out. So I'm really, really happy to hear that to see that they won the Oscar, and that's just so exciting.
It was a pleasant surprise, and it was one that I was happy to be wrong about. Like, I'm glad
Mm,
that it wasn't The Power of the Dog. No offense to The Power of the
mm-hmm,
Dog,
mm-hmm.
because I actually had to laugh, because with all the clips that we saw, like watching the ceremony, um, none of them featured dogs, which is what that's what Ashley brought up. Like, I don't see any dogs in this. I'm like, I don't. I guess we'd have to watch it to find out, because I don't know. I don't understand
Mm-hmm,
either. I
mm-hmm,
can't tell you. So,
mm-hmm.
and overall, like I said, it just didn't really seem that interesting to me. I could be wrong. It's just based on trailers and pieces of what I've seen from it, and I'm like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
And like I said in that episode, most of my predictions were based on previous award shows and what had won before it. And where I lost like 4 points, not 4 points, but four cat whatever, is the short films, animated, documentary, and live action. All those three, I got all those wrong based on all the festivals all those other films had been in. I'm like, oh, this one won the most awards, so this is probably going to get the
Mm-hmm.
Oscar. And lo and behold, I probably should have went with my gut and went with the one that just felt like it would be a winner, because I felt like people would watch this versus that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. We'll see how I do next year. I'm trying to think of what the other one I got wrong. Oh, best animated film. That was the other one I got wrong.
Who
But
won it?
Encanto won it, but it
Okay.
was really neck and neck between Encanto and the Mitchells versus the Machines. So
Do
have
I
you?
know that one? I feel like I've heard it, but I don't. Nothing
It's on
like
Netflix,
descriptive. Okay. Okay.
and it's by the
Yeah.
same, I want to say the same team that brought you Into the Spider-Verse, because the animation is
Oh
pretty similar.
yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Wow. And it beat. No, it didn't beat Encanto. Okay,
It
you're saying
didn't,
Encanto won. Gotcha. Okay.
but it won a lot of the other, like, maybe huge awards. I'm not sure if it got the Globe. Not that anybody watched
Mm.
the Globe this year, but I'm not sure if it got the Globe.
Did that even air the Globe?
That's a good question too, because if it did, I don't think anybody watched it, but I don't think it aired because I think NBC also boycotted it. So
Uh.
I don't know what happened. I'm not sure if it was just an empty room. Maybe they just, rented a room at a hotel, just a conference room, and like, okay, these are the people that are winning, and maybe they just recorded a I don't know. I don't know.
I gotcha.
But there were some globes that were given out. I want to say it's the Annie Awards, I think, which is the award show for animation all across the board, whether I think it's
Mm-hmm.
movies, TV shows, and I think video games, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it won best film, I think, Mitchell's versus the Machines. So that's why I was kind of running for that one. I'm like, okay, maybe they're gonna pull an upset, and it was really Disney versus Mitchell in the Machine, Mitchell versus the
Right.
Machine,
Right.
because Raya, Luca. Oh, what was the other one other than Encanto?
Yeah, because those are both Disney movies,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
they're
they
all
are.
Disney movies. Yep. And
Yeah. Wow.
there's one other one. I can't remember what it is, but it was really, like I said, between those two, and Encanto took it, which I'm fine. I'm fine with, because Encanto is also a great film.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So I was happy either way, other than the fact that I got one wrong. I'm like, oh, but good job, Encanto. And I kind of knew that our good friend Lin-Manuel Miranda was not going to get this award for best song, because why did this song get chosen to be in the running? I don't know. I'm sure there's a story behind it, and I still don't know what that story is. However, one of the bigger moments that I thought would be talked about, but isn't, is we don't talk about that remix, which I'm not sure if you heard anything about it.
No.
So, as you know, or as most people, if they're aware or not of the Oscars, they usually perform the song that is being nominated that year. So somebody performs it, whatever. So they did perform the Encanto nominated song, which is to some long word that starts with O that I should have written down. I don't remember what it is. It's a very pretty song. It's very nice. I like it. It's beautiful. But I never felt that this was the song that would win an Oscar. Honestly.
Well, now I need to know what it was so I can like agree or disagree with you.
Oh, it's like that that very like lighthearted, like fluffy love song when they were kind of thinking of Abuela and her husband.
What? Are you serious? That song? Like it was a good song, but that's not the Bruno song.
Right. And what was being discussed on Twitter, at least, is like we all know that the real song is Surface Pressure. Like that's the best song. And like,
I mean, even the intro song of Family. Wait, what's it called? Where they're saying the Family Madrigal. Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm.
That one could have took it. I mean, but the other song, not so much.
Like I forget that's on the. It is a
beautiful
song.
It's a beautiful song. It's great storytelling, but it didn't carry the movie the way the other two at least did, you know?
Right. And I forget that song is like on the soundtrack until you're like, oh right. And it's on there twice too, by the way. It's on there because it's in Spanish and then it's also in English and Spanish. So that, yeah. And for whatever reason, my Spotify on the Friday new releases will keep giving me, I'm not sure if it's sung in Hebrew or Jewish. It's in another language and I'm not sure why it's sending me this and I'm confused. So
you should listen and find out.
Oh, I listened to the song for sure. I have no idea exactly what language what it is, and it doesn't even say it. I open it up and it's in whatever language. To me, it looks Hebrew, so that's why I'm not sure. And I don't know what Hebrew sounds like, but the characters, it's either that or maybe Arabic. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll send it to you later when I remember.
And they're not even going to tell you.
They're not, because nothing in it is in English that helps me. Like it doesn't say like not Spanish version, but I don't know, Greek version or something. It doesn't say it like in parentheses. So I have no idea. I really don't. So that's happening. So I say all that to say that they decided that they were going to perform We Don't Talk About Bruno, but a remixed version of it, but with the whole cast, which was nice. That was cool.
Okay.
And some surprise guests, such as Megan Thee Stallion has a verse.
Oh, did she perform it? Like, did she perform it there? Like,
yeah, she was there live, just appeared out of nowhere, did her verse, which I really enjoyed. And I want to see and hear that part again. And then it went off and did some other things and then started talking about we don't talk about the Oscars. I don't know what they said, but they weren't talking about Bruno anymore. And I don't know what was happening.
It sounds so cheesy.
It really was like, why are we doing this? Like, this song isn't even nominated. But I get why they were doing it, but I don't understand why.
You know, I know there's time deadlines and things where they have to submit their nominations. So it's my theory that I literally just came up with right now. So it's got to be true. But my theory is they did not realize how much of a bop Bruno was, or is it pressure or under pressure? What's it? It's not under pressure.
I think it's surface pressure.
Surface pressure. You're right. So they probably didn't realize how, because they for sure didn't estimate, or they underestimated. I think it's Louisa, who is the character who sings Surface Pressure. They for sure underestimated her popularity and how people were going to relate to her so well. I bet they just nominated the other song because they thought that it had a better chance of winning. And then when they saw that literally Bruno will play on adult radio stations, because I heard it the other day, like
so has Ashley. She's like, it's on all the time.
it is. But like they decided to perform that one and then remix it in the worst way, it sounds like, because it in fact is the more popular bopish song.
Mm-hmm.
That's my theory.
And it could be right. And I'm gonna look right now, see if I can find the remixed version. But what I want specifically is the remix just with Megan Thee Stallion. I don't care for the rest of whatever they were doing, that nonsense that it was.
Keep that.
They really seriously, because everybody, I mean, I feel like everybody was getting excited, like, "Ooh, it's gonna happen!" Like the whole cast is here, they're gonna sing the song, and they're dancing all around each other. That's awesome. And it became like someone described it as a Broadway parody, or the Tony Award parody. And I'm like, oh my god, this is
that's
too
a good
much.
Description. It sounds kind of like that.
It
From
is
how you're describing it.
And I'm like, they could have kept this. I mean, you're trying to make every year, whatever producer's in charge, shout out to Will Packer, because I felt he did a good job overall. Every year they try to do a good job at trying to make the Oscars shorter, but yet be entertaining. So that is every producer's goal, their mission.
Sure.
And I gotta say, I mean, this year was pretty. I mean, but it didn't really have anything to do with Will Packer. But it's. I mean, I take that back. It was good. I did enjoy it. It was a good show. They need maybe 2 less hosts and probably just let Regina Hall do the whole thing, because she did an excellent job. She was hilarious. She kept trying to pretty much every guy that whether they were single or not, she was just trying to meet them in the back for either COVID tests or whatever, and then trying to inspect each of them herself. So just, I mean, that was her thing the whole night, which I thought was hilarious. I thought it was great. So Wanda Sykes, I mean, she's cool. I'm not like one of her biggest fans. I don't dislike her, but I'm Wanda Sykes. She's cool, whatever. And then Amy Schumer, I don't really have an opinion on her. I thought she did, her job. She had some pretty decent jokes there. What was funny though is, despite all the other discord that's happening with the big main event that wasn't supposed to be, it is that there are still people that are responding to other jokes that were made. Like she made a joke about Kirsten Dunst. I think that's her name. Kirsten Dunst. Yeah. One of those.
One of them.
Calling her, making this whole joke saying that she was a seat filler instead of an actual star that's supposed to be there.
Like, what was that about? I just heard about that and I'm like, wait a second, that's kind of rude.
It's rude, but it was a joke. I got the joke. I thought it was funny.
I mean, apparently that's what Chris Rock thought too about Jada Pinkett, and that kind of blew up in his face.
It truly did, and that was not a good joke. It just was not funny. And
I mean, I didn't like it, but
yeah, and it's still, that's part of where the debate's coming in, like whether he knew like she had a alopecia or not, and then what I'm also hearing is that he didn't write the joke. But what the other part I'm hearing is that he was just kind of winging it, and like, how some comedians do, and just riff on whatever it is that they see. So
right.
Sometimes you bomb badly, and then the reaction towards it was an emotional one, which I understood. Was it the right choice? Probably not, but it happened, and here we are. So
was the question is, I just lost the question. There it is. The question is, do you think it was staged or not?
At first, it was really difficult to tell, and the fact that the mics went mute gave me my first inclination that it wasn't. But I had a hard time trying to determine, based on the one shot that we had watching it live, like, did he lean into the slap? Like, was it staged? But then once it went mute after all of that, I'm like, ooh, that might have been real. And it was mute for a long time because, American TV. And then later you see from the other, like from the Australian version, the Japanese version, all of it basically uncensored. And you're like,
yes.
Oh, that was real.
Well, hearing what he said, what Will said, I was like, oh, okay,
right.
Okay. It sounds kind of real,
Because if it was staged, he probably would have been mic'd. all of it would have played out differently. Like I don't,
Yeah.
it would have, things would have looked differently if it was staged. Like there would have been
Okay.
enough signs to tell.
Okay. Okay.
But at first, yeah, it was really questionable. I was like, well, was that supposed to happen? Like, what is happening? What is happening? And that, I mean, again, Twitter just blew up, just trying to make sense. First, make sense what happened, if it was
Yeah.
real or not. Then
Yeah.
the whole discourse of like, well, what should happen next? Like, is he okay? Is what's happening over there? And then all the other people that
Yeah.
were actually there started sending in their videos. And
Oh wow.
yeah, and you got to see like Tyler Perry and Denzel Washington kind of being with Will, and just, you know, all of the things happening behind the scenes. And
Yeah.
that, I mean, that's me. I really love the whole behind the scenes stuff, even with live events happening. And I'm like, wow, this is very interesting. And how is
Yeah.
this going to play out? And then he wins the award, which again, I think most people kind of figured he would, because again, as I've been doing, not watching, but looking at the results of all the other award ceremonies before that, he has been winning Best Actor. So it was almost, you know, this is going to happen. And which I think it was glad that it did. And that's probably one of the reasons why he got to stay, or why he didn't want to leave, because we were later finding out that he was asked to leave, but he said no. So I'm like, okay. And then he goes up.
He was asked to leave and said no?
Yeah, according to the Academy,
Okay.
they did ask him and he said no. So
wow. Okay. So
and
what's
then,
the point in asking, guys?
well, I mean, I guess I don't want to say it's protocol, because I mean, how would you have something like that on protocol? Like, okay, in case someone gets up and slaps somebody, or basically assaults someone, because I feel like with every headline you read, you kind of already kind of hear that bias that's in there, because as soon as and granted, true, I mean, they're not wrong. Assault did happen. Violence happened.
I feel like they are kind of
yeah,
here come the think pieces, you know.
exactly. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. Like, really, I'm just trying to stick to the facts. I want to hear what the Academy eventually comes up with, because at the time of this recording, they are still deciding what they're going to do, like what kind of sanctions, what kind of disciplinary actions are going to happen.
Like, can they do anything to him? Like,
it's possible that they can.
Okay.
They can remove him from take his membership away. They can ban him from future award ceremonies, and he would join a list of 5 other people that have been banned. Yes.
Been banned? I'm typing it now.
I can tell you.
Please tell me.
Harvey Weinstein.
Okay, obviously, yes.
Bill Cosby.
Okay, sure, yes.
Oh my God. One of them you can Google, because I forgot his name already, but he was banned for film piracy. So I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. That's interesting.
That's a big one.
And then there's a cinematographer whose name I'm forgetting. His last name is Kimmel. And I'm like, is he related to Jimmy? But I don't think he is. I forgot his first name. I want to say it's Adam Kimmel. And Roman Polanski.
Roman Polanski, yep, that one just.
So
Adam Kimmel.
Adam Kimmel. Yeah. But yeah, 4 of those people, except like I said, the guy whose name I can't remember, film piracy. The rest of them basically sexual assault.
Sexual assault and sexual. Yeah. Carmine Caridi.
Yeah, something like that.
He was the first. Apparently, he was in The Godfather 2. He's the first person ever kicked out of the Academy. He was expelled in 2004 for producing the VCR copies of preview screeners and sharing them around. Yep. Interesting. It was like his own movie.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because
That's okay, sure.
So what doesn't seem to possibly be happening is them taking the award away from him, which I don't think they should do.
Nah, I don't think they're going to do that.
Right. So, but yeah, we shall see what will happen going forward. And
also, I take it back. Caridi, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name. He didn't just pirate The Godfather, his movie. He pirated as many as 60 movies. So, oops.
Yikes. But
multiple, yeah.
which I know happens, and it has to, because one year, I'm not going to give too many details of what year it was, but I was able to access or was given copies of several of the films nominated that year. So I was able to see like a bunch of the nominees. And I think what they do now is actually print like the person's name on like the film itself. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're watching it, it'll probably say property or loaned out to Mr. McCready or whatever his name was. I already forgot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
should that happen and then you see a copy, or like the FBI or somebody sees a
Mm.
copy, like, how did this get out?
Yeah.
Sir, and then you're out. So yeah. But that's, I don't know. It is what it is. And I try to go about legal means to see these films because film piracy is wrong.
Yeah.
No bootlegging. I do not support bootlegging. So, because hey, that's a job. That's somebody's job. They work hard to do that thing. And when you pay your admission price, whether that be at the movie theater or you pay for whatever streaming service, you are helping to fund that camera guy or that sound woman or any crew member besides just the actors, the directors, and producers. So all of them get paid, and I'm about that life. So
yeah, agreed.
Movie tickets are expensive, but that is why. Well, no, it's also because of popcorn, because somehow they gotta
and capitalism.
Capitalism too. Yes. Which I was explaining to somebody about The Hobbit being 3 movies, and it doesn't have to be. So capitalism.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on that.
Well, that was because we were discussing the film Drive My Car, which is also it won Best International Film, but it was nominated for a Best Picture. And my friend and I were discussing it, and she was like, I don't know why this is 3 hours long when the story it was based on is a short story. What I later learned was actually a number of short stories put into this one movie. But still, she felt it was a very long movie, and she was actually texting me, and it was like 2 hours in this 3 hour movie. So she's like, yeah, I don't know why it's so long. I'm like, well, I mean, I can't answer that question for you because I haven't read the material, nor have I seen the film. But
yeah,
I do know if they really wanted to stretch it out, they could take the Hobbit route and do that.
Yeah. But is that really the best thing to do for the story?
Right. But I realize, as you and I both know, and we are belaboring the point, capitalism. It makes more money this way. Same thing with all those other film franchises. Ooh, let's do the last one, but make it 2 movies. Because
looking at you, Twilight.
That's exactly what I'm thinking about. And like, hey, let's show like a whole wedding and then not reception, honeymoon, and then a whole nother movie about just a whole huge fight. So
anyway,
I mean, they could have whatever. It's here and gone. We've moved on. And
have we though? We haven't, but that's okay.
We haven't, because I mean, I can't talk about Harry Potter because I don't know that world that well, despite being married to like the biggest Harry Potter fan. Because I haven't watched that film that much, like the last 2.
What? Oh my god.
I mean, I don't doubt that it's played, but I might not have been here or awake.
Or paying attention because you just really don't care.
But I've watched them. I'm all looking around to make sure she's not around.
This is why I don't think you're telling the truth here, buddy.
I love that she loves them. How about that? So, but yes, that was the big highlight of the. I don't even know if highlight is the word, but I'm here for the memes. They have now likened instead of the snap from MCU is now the slap.
The slap. Oh my gosh.
Because
that's amazing.
all of the fallout that's been coming after that, like just all these other celebrities saying, I don't think it's, and then they're all of a sudden all this dirt is being poured on them. I'm like, well, I remember when you did this, or you touched this person, or you shot that person. So it's like, maybe you shouldn't say anything unless you, or not even unless, just to stay out of it. Like, B, like Daniel Radcliffe, as we're speaking of Harry Potter, who has said, let me try to get this quote right because I'm like, perfect, good job, sir. Dramatically bored of hearing people's opinions. So he had nothing to add. I think there's more to that quote. Well, I'm sure there's a whole clip, but that's just, yeah, there's more to it. But he didn't have an opinion. He didn't want to give one, and he just like, yeah, minding my business. Never mind. I don't want to leave me alone, which I thought was great. Great answer. Just move on.
I love that. Yeah.
Because yes, it is something that has happened. It's just now we just have to, I don't want to say necessarily move on from it, but learn from it, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want this to go on forever. I mean, but I think that is the nature of entertainment and think pieces from out the woodworks. People always have something to say. And it's just part of the cog, is all I know how to. Yeah.
But what I am liking from it, if there's as weird as that may sound, is that we are drawing attention to alopecia, and defending Black women that normally don't get defended. And I mean, those are two takeaways for me. I feel that I want to say, if any positives. So
I
yeah,
agree. And ableism,
right. And
because if nothing else, his comment was very, very ableist and just very tasteless,
Yep, that, and aged, as from what I'm telling or what I'm hearing, because if you have no idea that G.I. Jane was even a film, like back in the 90s, let alone like a second one, and then some people are like, wait, was she in the first one? But no, so there were other ways to do it. Like if you wanted to do it, there were other ways, but or you just say say nothing,
or just like sit down and say nothing. Just don't even, I don't know.
But it happened, and we'll just see what happens next. Just go on as that moment just flies out into. Oh, wow. It'd been great if I had this queued up a little better. But yes, that joke will just fly out and go out into space.
Nice transition.
Thank you. I had to work hard to get that because I wasn't like, oh, wait, no, I'm not ready. So space news, because this is basically the reason why we delayed, because NASA announced that Hubble was going to be found a new discovery, and they weren't going to release it until Wednesday. I'm like, ooh, why do you have to wait so long? But whatever. It's like when we got a teaser trailer, and then we finally got to see the trailer. But do you want to kind of present it? I'm sorry, I'm just throwing this at you now, but
sure. Well, I don't have the article up now, but basically they discovered a star that is believed to have been, so basically so the star is really, really old, and I think is maybe the oldest star that it's ever found. Not the oldest star like in existence that we know of, but possibly the oldest star that Hubble has found. Now, I was doing a little bit of like deeper reading into it, and it was more like it wasn't we basically Hubble's images of it captured it as it would have looked like X amount of time ago, like X millions, billions maybe of years ago, but it's unclear what its actual age is, because apparently that's different. So whatever it looks like to us now, it's not going to look like that now, because it would have traveled, billions of light years just to reach us, or reach wherever Hubble is. This is significant. Well, I'm still trying to figure out why this is significant. Maybe it's because it's the oldest star that Hubble has ever captured or something. I'm not sure what the big hubbub is for. I feel like it is important, but I don't know exactly why.
Right. And even when I read it, or even like when I just got the headline, like this is like, it's like the furthest and oldest, kind of what you're saying. It's like 10 billion light years or 10 billion years, whatever. one of the first of this generation of Billy. It got
see.
really
Okay.
it got into the weeds of time and
Yeah.
distance, and
Yeah.
I can only comprehend so much through words, and that's when I'm going to need like somebody to do a visualization for me. Then I'm like, oh, or we call our good friend Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm like, can you explain this to
Hmm.
me like I'm 10?
Yeah. He
So
would.
he would
He would.
too.
He would do a good
And
job.
right, and he would use his hands and and then the stars out and just pointing to wherever, and like, yes, okay. So and I think I even told it to you that day or yesterday. I'm like, I'm not as excited as I hoped I'd be. I was thinking they were going to discover something else. Like, I don't know what else. I mean, it's a
It's
telescope. You can
something else.
only
Well, I
see so
feel like
much.
with space news, it's got to be something that we really haven't kind of discovered before to
Mhm.
me in order for it to like be a little bit more significant, because we know that stars are out there, we know they're really far away, we know they're really old, but like even just the way, at least for me, the way I understand time when it comes to really old stars and really old planets in the universe, it's hard to grasp it, and it's hard to kind of wrap my head around it. So when I hear that yet another star has been found that's really old, it's like, oh, okay. I thought that was kind of understood, that like they're out there. Yes, we know that. Tell me
Mhm.
something I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
And I hear you, and I felt the same way, and I got you. So
Hmm.
since I knew we were going to be doing space news today, I'm like, well, this is not all that exciting, but I found something exciting.
Let's
And
hear it.
here's the headline. There's something truly unique about Pluto's landscape.
Okay, okay.
So, at the distant end of the solar system, far from the sun's warmth and light, a truly unique world drifts in the alien darkness. I feel like I should be reading that slower and deeper. Pluto, new research has found, has a landscape sculpted by ice volcanoes of a
Oh.
see that's a kind of
No, that's exciting. Come on.
right, ice volcanoes. Like, I can stop right
Right.
there.
Right. Like that's a thing. Okay, cool.
Exactly. And I will continue. Of a type and scale seen nowhere else in the solar system, because ice volcanoes do exist elsewhere, even in our solar system, but not like they do on Pluto. So I will
Okay.
continue. To the southwest of the Sputnik Platinia, I don't know, it's someplace on Pluto. So much slush has erupted from below the surface of Pluto that mountains of ice stand up to 7 kilometers or 4.3 miles for us English folk, or
Okay.
American
Okay.
folk. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how high it is. One of the regions with very few impact craters is dominated by enormous rises with hummocky flanks. And that is
What?
now, hold on a second. Hold on.
Okay.
Where did it go? Up there it is.
Word watch.
Hummock is the word for today, because I looked up what is that, and that's basically a hill or a hillock,
Okay.
or basically a mound created by ice. So
Okay. Okay.
right. Similar features do not exist anywhere else in the imaged solar system. The existence of these massive features suggests Pluto's interior structure and evolution allows for either enhanced retention of heat or more heat overall than was anticipated before New Horizons, which I think is what was investigating it, the satellite or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
As the name indicates, rather than hot molten lava, ice volcanoes erupt with slushy water slurries of volatile compounds such as ammonia and methane. Once they emerge into frigid atmospheric conditions above ground, they freeze and build up surface monuments, much like lava can create volcanic mountains in calderas, just, well, colder. So the first hint of ice volcanoes, known as cryovolcanism, was detected on Pluto
Okay.
in 2015 when the New Horizons probe made its epic flyby by our solar system. Erstwhile, ninth planet. Oh, wow. That's a word. I didn't even see that word. Should have made that one the word. Never before had scientists had access to such a wealth of data on the oh man, I should know how to pronounce this. Jupiter's belt, not Jupiter. The area where Pluto lives with all the other dwarf planets live. Not far from the heart-shaped flatland of the Sputnik area, some features stood out as truly interesting, I'll say.
That's some good space news.
Yes, and this came out on the day before yesterday, so Tuesday. This came out on Tuesday. So had I actually found this one, we could have just went ahead like a regular show rather than waiting for some stupid old star
non-news,
right? Like whatever. You gave me this announcement a week in advance. Only I'd rather wanted the Pluto news because we care about Pluto over here. So sorry, I got all worked up. So yes, ice volcanoes. Exciting. There's more to this article, so I think I'll just put it in the show notes. And so that's your real space news. Boom. Or
that is the better space news.
Right. Whatever sounds ice volcanoes make, that's the noise of like a mic drop, but ice volcano style. Got me all worked up. But we will make a transition over to where did it go? Oh, there we go. Yes, we are going to the spookums zone. And thank you so much to Berto for submitting a story for us. Actually, it's 2 stories. But I did want to throw in, because I was trying to figure out how am I going to get this in here. I keep telling people about it. I'm alluding to a place. And during my vacation, we had to go do a quick errand with Ashley. And we went to it's a lovely city called Danbury here in Connecticut. And I used to go out there for an old job that I used to do. And I was a vendor for Home Depot, and I hated going to this specific store because I was convinced it was haunted. So, I will explain. So part of what I had to do was I had to stock and order and stock molding, which before I even worked this job, I had no idea like what is molding. And it's basically all the fancy stuff that's around your doors and walls and whatnot. So those come in like huge planks and almost like trees, and they come bundled up as if they are like trees. And I have to stock this in these shelves or areas. I mean, if you've been to a Home Depot, you kind of seen it, you know what it looks like, especially if you've been to the lumber area, it's over there too. So I say all that to say that part of my job was to make sure that these aisles look nice and clean and crisp, either before the store opens or just as it's opening, or especially when I am done, finish all the stocking and cleaning out all the broken pieces, make it look nice, make it look pretty. That's part of my job. And I have to go take pictures and prove to higher ups and bosses and such that I'm doing my work properly. I do that, but like as soon as I finish and I turn around, everything looks junky like just before I got there. And it's bizarre. And I know this is odd and weird because I would do like all this cleanup, and like sometimes I do it like just like it's the first part of my day or like my shift or whatever, and nobody will be in the store. Like it's maybe the store hasn't even opened yet. And I turn around and again, no one has been in there, and now it looks all junky again. And I don't know how or why. And it freaked me out. And it was always very frustrating because I'm like, I just cleaned up this place. Who is putting this junk back? Or maybe it's even a slow day in that particular store and there's nobody been in the aisle and I just finished cleaning up. And again, just looking all junky and weird, and I hate it. And because of all of that, I would have this one particular kind of manager, not my main manager, who was pretty awesome. Like he was not threatening. He looked threatening in a strange kind of like, how would I describe him? Joe Pesci, but like bigger. But he was like, if you got down to his like creamy, soft interior because he has a cat, and he showed me pictures of him and his cat, and they're all cuddled up. And he takes like he's one of those like old dads would take a tablet or an not an iPhone, but an actual tablet and just iPad. That's the word I was looking for. And take videos of that, but of like babbling brooks, and just of the babbling brook, because he showed me this video once, and I'm like, oh, okay. And you don't want to interrupt him because I don't want that Joe Pesci side of him to come out and be, like,
Right.
watch the video. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm watching. But he's very gentle, and he makes like his own homemade maple syrup, which was really good. So gentle soul, but he can be like I said, Joe Pesci, and scary if you make him mad. But good guy. There's another manager, however, who you've seen the movie The Croods, right? Or familiar with it? Yeah, it looks like he's from that family. And I don't mean that as a compliment, unfortunately, but it's just kind of what he kind of gives that vibe. And he has a tendency of just, because he said he was going to like file to make sure I was doing everything I was doing or supposed to be, like shadowing me, and he never actually did appear. Like I was ready to show him like, hey, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm ready for you, but he never did. But he does have a tendency of just kind of have this habit of just following up with me all the time, just texting me, just bothering me, like leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered anymore. And eventually I did leave that job because at one point I was transferred to another store or another series of stores, and then they were going to transfer me back when a new business or new ownership took over. And I'm like, I can't go back to Danbury. That store is the worst. I was going to say it's the devil, but it's not the devil. It's just devil adjacent. So it was just terrible. And I decided to quit then and there, or I gave a 4-week notice, but I left like maybe a week after. But yeah, I gave a 4-week notice, and my boss was super cool. He gave me a couple bottles of his homemade maple syrup, wished me on my way. Like no hard feelings or anything. He completely understood. And shortly after that, I think you and I kind of met like on Twitter. So because I think
the rest is history.
I know the rest is history. So that little, and that's not the only part of the spookums was the part that I kept cleaning up and everything just kept looking trashed. I just had to fell through the rest of that story and how it connected to us. So
Thank you for ending on a positive note.
Of course. And it wasn't too scary for you, so you can still sleep with the lights off. However, Berto gave us a story, because as you remember in the previous times, he has at least one ghostly auntie, and she may or may not have been visiting again, but I will just read as he has sent it to us. 2 instances of activity, both happened while work was being done on the inside of the house. Tracks with most ghostly activity. Number 1, sitting down at the kitchen island about to eat, Luna, who is his cat, is sitting at the other chair, like a people, his exact words. But then again, animals do that. Luna and I both turn our heads because, like me, she also saw someone walk past the dining room. It wasn't a scary moment. It felt like it was someone we knew was there, just happened to walk by. Instance number 2. This one was startling. I'm sitting on the couch watching TV. Luna's right next to me, sitting on the arm of the sofa. Suddenly, I feel like someone is standing right next to us. I didn't feel threatened, more like I didn't notice that someone I knew was in the house had come up. I didn't mean read it like that. Someone was in the house, had come up behind me. Keep in mind, I was alone in the house. I felt that pressure in my chest, knowing someone is right next to me. I then see that Luna has turned her head to look right to the right and looking up at someone or something. So I turn my head. Nothing there, but I still feel someone is there. Again, not scared. It was as if someone just walked up, curious to see what we were watching. He goes on to add, I don't know if it's the same presence or a second one, but it feels like it's just someone going about their business. I think the walk-by ghost was the one that was setting off the bathroom motion sensor light, the one he mentioned, or the one we discussed in a previous episode. And then he has a fun fact here. The school right next door to us was once an orphanage in the 1920s that burned down. But I think all the kids escaped unharmed. He thinks. He's not sure, though. He's not sure.
He don't know.
There was that one orderly or that one janitor or that one child that didn't make it.
Right.
Thought they're all accounted for. I don't know. Anyway, do you have any recommendation? I'm kidding. Well, I'm not, but I didn't have a transition out of that. But thank you, Berto, for your follow-ups there. And please do keep us enlightened if there's any more activity, because we here at the Indoob podcast do enjoy that kind of material. Also, shout out to anyone else out there that does have any stories. Please send that to me, indoobpod@gmail.com, and we will read it and share it. And I don't know, see if Kortney gets freaked out at all and be able to sleep tonight.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, I almost forgot. Please hold.
Black History.
Black History. Black History. Black History.
And that's basically just to congratulate Questlove for winning Best Documentary for Summer of Soul. I cannot talk about that film enough. And speaking of like just trying to be in a good and cheerful mood, that is one documentary you can watch and it'll just fill your life with joy. If you, your skin will glow, your hair may grow out a little bit, just pores will be cleansed. You just feel your soul just lifted and enlightened. I can't say enough words about it. And it is well deserved. Like his win, the moment. I'm so glad that he made that film. I don't know. It's on Hulu. It's on Disney Plus. So please watch it. Go check it out. And it's a weird Black History fact, but I'm just throwing it in there. Maybe he's the first. Yeah, I think maybe he might be the first Black documentarian to win. So there you go.
Oh, nice. That's even cooler.
So, I mean, I don't know if that's a fact or not, but the fact is that he won, and it's a great film that should be watched and enjoyed again and again.
Nice.
So now, actually, we'll go into moment of gratefulness. Do you have one at the ready? Do you need a moment?
Give me a moment.
Okay. I will say my moment of gratefulness is this little nugget that where did I get this from? I don't remember. But gratitude is one of the best vitamins. I'm kidding. That is not my. It is.
I like that though.
It is. I liked it too. That's why I had to write it down. I'm like, it's great. But I'm also just gonna be grateful for the rest that I got over my vacation. Like I really felt rested, even though like I had went away to the casino or to the resort for like 24 hours. It was just a night really, but still, it was like the beds were super comfortable, and I just felt good and rested. I'm like, all right, it was good. It was good. Great. So I was grateful for that. Being able to truly rest, truly just let go of everything and just be in the moment and be recharged and rejuvenated. And I haven't felt that way in a very long time. So that was nice.
Good. No, that's right. Rest is needed, and I'm glad you got it.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Do you have your moment?
Yeah. So I'm grateful. Well, I thought I did. Well, honestly, I'm grateful for you, my friend Sterling.
Oh.
Because you're an awesome friend, sure, but especially recently, we're both kind of going through I don't know if I can say this I'm not gonna say it, but we're kind of going through similar things and similar
journeys
that we're trying to push through, see to the end, and make some pretty big things happen. And so because of you and your encouragement, both explicit encouragement, but also just really implicit, just watching you do the things has really encouraged me to do the things and to stop sitting around and waiting for things to happen. And that's normally not an issue with me, but lately, because of just life, it's just been a little bit harder. But been more of an uphill battle. So I'm
Hmm.
just grateful for you and for your struggle, and grateful for um your journey.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, I felt that because we had this conversation, maybe it might be like 2 months now, where we just decided to take this journey, but like things have been happening in both of our lives that we were like, okay, we need to make moves, we need to do something,
Mhm.
or not even just we, but I knew I had to do something. So like, okay, let me
Mhm.
just get going. And as I had told you, I'm going to say it publicly, is like I don't want to go alone. Like I don't want to ascend or go to the next level without bringing others with me. Yes, of course I'll be bringing my family with me, but you're part of my family too, so just want to make sure that you are also seeing your version of success. And I'm giving another, I guess, maybe shout out or moment of gratefulness because I got to have a similar conversation with a good friend of mine, Romy, who maybe one day may be a guest on this podcast because of his journey. And we had, this was actually I think one of my original moments of gratefulness is being able to reconnect with so many of my good friends. And you included Kortney and Nisha. Like we had a whole group chat that we got to chat about a whole bunch of things, even though we
Mhm.
rehashed part of the podcast we were on. Um, and meeting a couple of my other friends, including Romy, and just the conversation him and I had about just moving on to the next level, or basically what our versions of success look like and how do we
Mhm.
achieve that, how do we go. And he was very encouraging, and I think he may even say I was encouraging to him as well. And the point I'm getting to is that we have become like accountability partners for each other. It's like you and I,
Yeah.
Kortney, are hold each other accountable, and he is holding me accountable, or I'm holding him accountable to what he wants to do. And which reminds me,
Mhm.
I need to send him a text message as well, just to make sure that he is doing what he is setting out to do, which I believe that he is. But that's the point of having friends like that to keep you accountable. And I am
Yeah.
grateful for that, for you, for him, and for those people that are out there like, hey, did you do that thing yet? I'm waiting to see it. And um I'm hoping. So I thank you. I can't thank you enough, but I thank you. So yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Do you have any recommendations?
Oh, I did, and I can't remember what they are. Something
Mm-hmm.
told me to write it down.
Mm-hmm. So you have to be like me
Uh,
and have like post-its or sticky notes or
I
a whole notebook,
know.
just to jot down ideas, whatever it is that we might say, and like, ooh, that's a good point. Let me circle back to that. So,
Well, there's a couple of podcasts. Well, a podcast that I've recently gotten into called "Bending the Elements." Let me pull it up, but it's about the Avatar, the Last Airbender. Um,
I think I might know what this is.
it's amazing and it's fairly new, so I'm glad to kind of. It's called "Braving the Elements," but
Okay.
um, it is hosted by Dante Basco, who's the voice of Prince Zuko, among other um, well-known and beloved cartoon characters, and Janet Varney, who's the voice of Korra.
Yes, that is okay. That's
Hmm.
the podcast I did hear about. Yep.
So it's very similar. Well, there's many shows that are like this where you've got former cast members and a lot of former crew members of a particular show that just kind of talk about each episode and give a lot of background information about it and talk about their kind of um, perspective about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this show is, and it's awesome. I love it so much already. I believe the first episode aired in June of 2021, so it's still fairly new, almost a year old, and so they're just going through each episode. Um, Already, the creators of Korra and the Last Airbender, Mike DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, have also they've already been on the show, and so got some information about how they met, how they got into the game, just interesting stuff. So I highly recommend that podcast if you like Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's just it's a great way to geek out over the show even more.
I would agree, and I am familiar with. I mean, I know both of them as voiceover artists, but Janet Varney definitely as a podcaster. She has at least one other one, and she guests on a bunch of the other ones I listen to. So I definitely know you're in good hands.
She's kind of everywhere.
She is, which is great. And my recommendation would be also a podcast called Dead Eyes, and it's about an actor, Connor Radcliffe, who his whole journey, basically, the whole premise is that he went to audition to be on Band of Brothers on HBO way back in 2001. And it was being produced by Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg, but he had to go audition again in front of Tom Hanks, and Tom Hanks fired him saying, "No, I don't like him. He's got dead eyes." So his whole journey for like the last 20 years. Well, I don't say the last 20 years, but he decided to start a podcast to kind of figure out what about him, made him. Yeah. So
that's terrible.
Right. So I ended up.
Interesting.
I don't want to say it's a series finale. It could be a season finale. I'm not sure if he's going to continue, but there's only 30 episodes. The 30th episode just came out, and all throughout the whole series, he's actually talking to different actors, different like casting directors, agents, all either about his experience, if they can shed any light onto why he may have said that, or if he actually has dead eyes, or just other people's experience of being failing or being fired or rejected. I've listened to a good number of them, but then once I think I listened to the first season and then I kind of stopped, but then I heard about episode 30 where he talks to Tom Hanks.
Oh, wow.
So at the very beginning of that episode, they have a whole list of episodes you should listen to before you listen to that one. So I will give that to you now. So get your pen and paper ready. Episodes 1, 2, 3, 6, 10, 13, 20, and 27. So all of these episodes, yes, they prepare you for episode 30 with Tom Hanks, and you can finally get that question answered. But it's a really great conversation, and all of them are all good, because if you are anything you do in life, you sometimes just have to have that being prepared to not necessarily to fail, but maybe they might not like you, and how do you deal with that? And I feel like this is a really good positive podcast in that way, because he's not bashing him at all. It's just like, how did we get here? Like, why didn't I not get this thing? And it's a really beautiful story, honestly, and how it pretty much ends up. So I recommend listening to. You can listen to the whole series, or you can just listen to those episodes I mentioned. But I wouldn't go straight to the last one because of how it sets up, how it gets there. So part of the journey. So yeah, that's my recommendation. And I guess
thank you very much.
Of course. It's my last thing would just be, do you have any, should you want to be found, any plugs or things in that way? Do you want to be found? Sorry, I repeated myself.
You can find me on the Twitters at IamK Hinton. End of speech.
Thank you so much, because again, it just had that sound as if you're going to keep going.
Whatever.
Yes. Follow me on all things at Indoob. Go to indoob.com. Tell someone you value that you value them, like we did earlier. Live without regrets and live for the folks you love. Please wash your legs, face, bottoms of your feet, the undersides of your dishes. Get vaccinated. And yes, still wear your mask, despite what I said last time. You still should do that, especially if you feel safe and feel safer. I've been your benevolent host. Yeah, I can wait for that. Been your benevolent host, E. Sterling Watson. And remember, if the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off henceforth and forevermore in the church stead. Amen. Thanks for listening to the Indu podcast, which was recorded from the south side of Wakanda in Little New Indubia on the corner of T'Chaka and MLK Drive, and is part of the Indube Network. Want more Indube? Follow on Instagram and Twitter @Indube and on Facebook @IndubePod. You can contact us and send Ask Indube questions by emailing indubepod@gmail.com. Want to support or donate? Find the T Public Store or become a patron on Patreon, where subscribing gives you perks and extra things from the Indube Network. Please subscribe, rate, comment, and share the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, Podbean, and wherever else podcasts are found. And of course, visit Indube.com for all of this and much more. Thank you so much for letting us entertain, enlighten, and provide an auditory escape with knowledge and nonsense. Until next time.
Use your words, Chief. Good boy.
This has been another 3SFX production.